Lisa Engles Witter, and I'm here to help you awaken to the true you. Thanks for joining me for this episode where we're going to talk about how to deal with negative people. We all have negative people in our lives, whether it's a coworker, maybe it's even a family member or a friend or someone that you have to be in contact with on a regular basis, or maybe you just, are out doing some shopping and the person at the cashier is totally negative. We run across negative people in our lives all the time. So how do we deal with negative people? Well, the first thing I want to do is to remind you, which I'm sure you already know, that we can't change other people. We can only change our response to them, right? And we either react to people or we respond to them. Ideally, we're in a place where we can respond to them. So let's unpack that for a moment. So what we need to remember, and I've talked about this before, is that everybody on this planet is seeking happiness. We're all seeking happiness. Whether we're already really happy, we're still seeking happiness, or whether we're sad and depressed all the time, or angry and rageful, we're still seeking happiness. So everybody is seeking happiness. We also need to remember that we all experience suffering. Suffering exists, and it exists more intensely for some people than for other people, but regardless, we all experience suffering. So those two things, we're all seeking happiness and we all experience suffering. We need to remember when we're coming across negative people in our life that negative people are suffering. They're in a place of experiencing suffering. And when we're around negative people, if we want to respond mindfully, what we need to do is notice how we respond to their negativity. Does their negativity trigger you? Does it trigger something inside of you, like hook you and get you drawn in? What you want to do when you're around negative people and they do trigger you is you want to use it as an opportunity to look within yourself and notice what they're reflecting back to you, right? Look at yourself, notice what it's reflecting back to you about an aspect of yourself that needs to heal. If you were not triggered by a negative person, then it wouldn't bother you, right? There wouldn't be something within you to look at. But if you're being triggered by a negative person in your life, then they are actually reflecting something back, something unseen about yourself to you that it's time to look at and see what it is about you that's being triggered. So that's the first thing. The next thing that you want to do is have some compassion for that person. So let's go back to the scenario, like you're somewhere, maybe you're your best friend even, and they're just a negative person. You're around them and they're starting to do their same old story again that just is so negative and it's bothering you. Notice, well, number one, remember that, hey, everybody just wants to be happy and everybody is experiencing suffering. So you remind yourself of that, and then notice your response to their negativity, how it might be triggering. Make a mental note, it's triggering me. I need to look at that. Maybe you can't do it right now in the moment, but you're going to take a look at that. And then you're going to have some compassion for them, remembering, oh yeah, right, they're suffering right now. And then have in the moment, if you can pull it out of yourself, to have some gratitude for the lesson that they're teaching you in that moment, right? They're teaching you something. So you're going to have some compassion and some gratitude for them. And then this is the work. This is practice. I'm not saying that this is easy to do, right? Now, there's one other thing that I've talked about before that I think is critically important. And that's this idea of ethics. And when we're around negative people and they trigger us, it's very easy for us to start thinking, saying, and acting in certain ways around this person that aren't exactly what we would call ethical ways to act. Okay. So I'm not, again, this video, this episode isn't about going deep into ethics, but do be aware of your thoughts, your words, and your actions towards this person, because as I've said before, if we don't have mastery over our own thoughts and our own words, our thoughts are so close to actions that the moment we think something, sometimes we get that response and we act immediately, and we might act unethically. So if we don't have mastery over our thoughts, our words, and our actions, we're never going to be able to have mastery over the more subtle inner states within ourselves that lead us to spiritual awakening, that lead us to knowing our true self and having that experience of gnosis, of true gnosis, knowledge of who we really are. Thanks so much for joining me in this episode. If you like this video, please do like, share, or comment just below this video. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, so you can get notifications of upcoming episodes, which I tend to load quite often. And also, if you're liking this vibe, go on over to Facebook and like my page on Facebook, which is Lisa Engles Witter. Thank you so much. Namaste.